Hello, Internet. Welcome to the Homebrew Studio. My name is Matthew. I use he, him pronouns. And I'm going to be with you for the next hour or so in the studio today as we talk about creating homebrew content that you can use in your role playing games with your friends. Thank you for joining me today. With me, as before, is Logan, one of our directors and the Nerdsmith, one of our Nerdsmith directors and the arbiter of the live stream. Logan, if you are available, say hello to our friends in chat today. Logan's a bit busy behind the scenes, so I'm not going to bug him too much today. I do want to quickly say thank you to everyone, again, who has supported the Homebrew Studio through your subscriptions and donations. We greatly appreciate all of your support, and we appreciate that you enjoy the show enough to show us that kind of monetary support. It means a lot to us. Today actually marks our last session in Season 1 of Homebrew Studio. We've been doing this for about 3 months now. This is Session 9. I was hoping to get Session 10, but, real life interferes sometimes. So we are going to be on break over the month of June. We're going to take the month of June off and come back in July with some new sessions and new topics to discuss. Clearly, I need a break. We're taking June off for a few reasons. The first and biggest of which being that I'm going to be moving next month, so I'm just not going to be available to do shows on a weekly basis. There's also going to be some schedule changes going on with the Twitch channel that, with Countless Heroes ending, we have some new shows that are going to be starting up. The schedule is going to get changed a little bit, and Homebrew Studio might end up in a new day, new time slot. We don't know yet. So we'll figure that out, and we will be back. I'll miss all of you. But today's topic for our last session this season is one that I've been trying to do for the last few weeks, and it keeps getting delayed for various reasons. This is a topic that builds off some of our previous sessions in the studio, and that topic is upgradable items in our tabletop RPGs. Well, thank you, Stamped Steel. I appreciate that. No, Angela, I'm sorry, there's not going to be any explosions or a cliffhanger. Hello, Jay. I'm not going to ignore you. So, looks like we've got some people in the studio today. That's great. So, let's talk about upgradable items, magic or otherwise. The first question, of course, for us to address is why are upgrades something that you want to include in your game? What purpose do they serve, and what benefit do they bring? As I sip a delicious non-branded soda beverage. Well, when it comes to items, giving a player character an upgradable item can serve as a great source of player engagement. And that's something that we as DMs, GMs, storytellers are always striving to create. We want our players to invest in the game world, and we can use upgradable items to do that. There are a few different ways that we can begin that process of engagement to pull our players in using these items. First of all, upgradable items give a player a goal to pursue. Some people are goal-oriented, and I think widely that's the case in the TTRPG community because there's a lot of goal-oriented systems baked into RPGs. We're all striving for those experience points to get that next level, to unlock that next cool ability for our class. Introducing upgradable items taps into that same sort of psychology and can get your players more invested by giving them additional motivation to do the thing, whatever the thing is that you're trying to motivate your players to do. Motivation, by the way, just a little side tangent, is a great mindset to get yourself in as a DM, GM, etc. To try and get your players to do something you want them to do without just railroading them. It's the little carrot you dangle on a stick in front of them. So, that's something that these items can be really good for, is creating that motivation for your players. The second thing is, by giving your players an upgradable item, you're giving them something that they can invest themselves and their time into. It creates a sense of attachment. If you give your ranger a magical bow at level 3 and they spend 15 levels upgrading it and building it into their character identity, then that's something that's personal to them now. It's distinct to that character. It's something extra for them to hold on to and to cling to and invest in. This can This can also be an issue if you have a player that's playing a specific type of character, something like a Hexblade Warlock, where a very specific item is keyed into the fiction of their class, the fiction of their character. You can't have a Hexblade Warlock, or I suppose you could, but it might be difficult, where they're swapping out magical weapons when there's supposed to be this one weapon that defines who they are and why they have the abilities that they do. So that's another example where bringing in the idea of an upgradable item is important. Angela in chat saying that in Shenanigans, she's been trying to remind Logan that if he ever gives us loot, we want Adelaide's bow to get upgradable arcane elements instead of giving her different bows. Fits well with her tinkerer attitude and the fact that we work with Adelaide as one of the first few arcane archers in the world. Yeah, exactly. It can help build that sense of unique character identity when you have a unique item that sticks with you over the long term of a campaign. And third, depending on the mechanism you use for upgrading items, and that's something we'll get to in a moment, you can tie the process of upgrading an item into the fiction of the world. You can tie it into a particular faction or a particular bit of world lore or a legend or a deity. And that helps your players engage with the game world instead of just being sort of tourists, which can sometimes be an unfortunate view that player characters have, is that, oh, we're just sort of tourists in the world, we're not really part of it. This is a great way to get your players to engage in the world, to make them feel like they're part of it, and that their interactions with the world have weight and meaning to them. So there's an additional benefit as well on top of that to us DMs, GMs, and so on, and that's having these upgradable items for your players can be a jumping off point for creating adventures, creating story hooks. It's another tool that we can put in our toolbox and pull out at a moment's notice to grab hold of our players' attention. So, for example, the Eye of Odin is said to reside in the flying fortress of Tutti Frutti, guarded jealously by the infernal general Noob Haxor. Were you to secure the Eye of Odin and affix it to the Raven's Grasp amulet already in your possession, its wondrous power would be yours to command. Just something like that, to grab your player's interest and go, ooh, a thing that's going to make my already cool thing even cooler. Yes, I will go on this adventure to the floating fortress of Tutti Frutti. Thank you. So, let's talk about getting into the studio proper. Let's talk about upgrades. And let's talk about the mechanics of upgradable items. How do players upgrade their items? Well, there are multiple different ways that we can institute systems to allow them to do this. One of these is through crafting, and I'm a little off center, so let me adjust that slightly. One of these ways we can do it is through crafting. We have players go out, gather resources, and either employ an artisan or use their own crafting skill to apply these upgrades to the item. And the player engagement here comes from gathering these rare and unique materials. This is something that goes back to a stream we did close to a month ago, probably, on materials and crafting. The different kinds of magical and unique materials you can put out into the world and have these be, little goodies for your adventurers to go out and collect, and they can bring those back, smith them into their magical items, improve the items that they already have. That's one form of creating upgrades for your players. Another is treasure hunting. Players gather magical relics, and these relics imbue their items with more power. The engagement factor here is that you have your players going out, locating, recovering these relics. Functionally, it's kind of the same as crafting, it just gives it a different flavor. Next, we have questing. Players perform service on behalf of an NPC or a faction in exchange for their items being upgraded. This is something that works well if you have like a paladin or a cleric or a warlock, something that's going to be acting on behalf of maybe their patron or their deity. Or you just have characters who are parts of a particular faction or know an incredibly powerful artificer NPC. These are all, different places that quests can come down to the players, and their particular patron can say, "Go do this thing for me, and I'll take your cool magic item and make it even cooler." So, and then of course the player engagement there is completing quest objectives. Then there are two more, which are not great, but I included them on this list because they are options. There's grinding, where players repeat specific actions and are rewarded with upgrades as a result. Player engagement, I don't know. To me, this doesn't sound engaging, but then again, there are still millions of people who play World of Warcraft, and that's basically what this is. So, I don't know. Some people might like it. It might work well if you have, say, more of a West Marches style game, where you've got lots of different players who pop in and pop out, and their upgrades depend on their participation in that manner. That's kind of a way to keep people coming back. Again, MMO philosophy. But there's that as an option. It's not a great option, but it's an option. And then there's leveling, where items just level up automatically as a character gains levels. And the engagement factor there isn't really one. You're just making them more powerful as they gain levels automatically. They're not doing anything additional to unlock that power. It's just a gimme. So those are our options for the mechanism of how we allow our players to upgrade their magical items. Well, we are going to let them upgrade their items. How powerful should those items be after each upgrade? And this is something that goes to pretty much how do you judge the power of any magical item you're going to create or homebrew. It's kind of the same philosophy you have to apply to it. It's entirely up to DM preference, how powerful you want to make your player characters, as long as there's consistency in the tone of the game, and as long as all players are agreeable. You don't want to make one player super powerful so that none of your other players are having fun because they're all, they're not getting to do any of the cool stuff that your one super powerful player is. And you want to make sure that it's a consistent tone where you're not, maybe you're running a low magic setting and that's what all of your players bought into. You start introducing homebrew magic items that are way too powerful for the setting. It upsets the balance of things. So, it's the general rules for crafting homebrew magic items. You have to keep consistency of tone, and you have to make sure that all of your players are happy with what you're putting out there. That no one feels slighted by, which goodies you're giving out to whom. You can always consult existing magic items of varying quality to get a sense of relative magic power. So as they go up in levels, you go up from common to uncommon to, rare, very rare, legendary, etc. in terms of the scaling power of the items you're making. And if you ever want just an easy guideline for scaling damage, there's always the cantrip guideline in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, which is not the only game system by any stretch, but it's the one we tend to talk about most often. So in 5th edition, cantrips, you have 1 damage die at 1st level, 2 damage dice at 5th level, 3 at 11th, and 4 and 17th, and that's the general sort of damage scaling progression that you could bake into your upgrading magic items as well if they're magical weapons. So let's actually start building here. Let's actually build an upgradable magic item. And what I'm going to ask for you in the chat is give me a random character for a random D&D character. A race, a class, and a background. And we'll start from there. And we'll build an upgradable magic item for that character. Stamp Steel, thank you for the bits! If nobody has any suggestions, I do also have D&D Beyond open. I'll just randomly generate a character. An Aarakocra. So our character is an Aarakocra, which I can never spell correctly, so thank you. An Aarakocra wizard. And what is their background? An archaeologist. Okay. So we have an Aarakocra wizard archaeologist. Well, first of all, that suggests to me that whatever this magic item is, it's going to be some kind of ancient relic that's been unearthed in some manner of archaeological dig, because our character is an archaeologist. So, let's see what else. It's a wizard. So we are limited. If we're going to make this a magic weapon, we're very limited in terms of what that can be. Wizards, we want to branch out away from weapons and make things like magic robes or magic wands or magic amulets, magic rings. Uh-oh, stream cut out. Well, hopefully you're back soon, Jay. But let's make this... Let's make this an amulet. So we're going to make a magical amulet for our wizard. And they're an Aarakocra. So what's something... something bird sounding, something aviary that might interest an Aarakocra wizard. Let's see. Let's see. The Lost Talon of so-and-so. The Silver Feather of such and such. The Early Bird Amulet. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, Angela. The Early Bird Amulet gives you a bonus to initiative or something about not needing too much sleep. That's neat. Okay, we can build off that as an idea. Now we can say just as a base for the items. Something to do with a crest, like how birds have feather crests. Interesting. How do you make a judgment about rarity? Well, since we're working with upgradable items, we have to start pretty low, right? We're starting with common or uncommon, and then we're going to work our way up there through the levels. In this case, we could start with common, but common items are really unremarkable. I tend to think of common magical items as very generic. Like, you could find them pretty much anywhere. Uncommon is where things start to get a bit more unique, a little bit more interesting. So that's why I'm going with uncommon for this. Though I guess technically it should be legendary already. It's just very low powered, and then it gets more powerful over time. Depends on how you want to define the term. So then the items upgrades are what increase rarity. Yeah, again, it's kind of, it depends on how you want to adjudicate the term. If it's a term in terms of how rare the item actually is, if it's a one-of-a-kind items, then it should be a legendary item. But if you're doing it in terms of power level, then it starts off pretty low and would go up. Yeah. I guess really, thinking about it, this should actually be a legendary item. That's good point. It's just going to be a very weak legendary item to start off with. Would depend on if you're going for upgradable enchantments or attachments versus upgrading the item itself because of power level. Yeah. Yeah. So, if we're just starting this off, sort of a basic item, let's say our wee Aarakocra wizard is but a level 2 wizard, then we can simply say that while wearing this magical amulet, which while wearing this magical amulet, which resembles a bird cast against a rising sun, you gain advantage on initiative, a bonus to initiative. We'll just say advantage on initiative rolls. And boom, we're done. There's our entry-level basic enchantment. I don't know why the spacing is weird. One moment. There we go. Basic sort of entry-level item. You could give that to a second-level character, generally speaking, and it wouldn't be terribly overpowered. So, but let's talk about taking it up a notch. Let's go with the Early Bird Amulet 2. So we're going to take it up a little bit in terms of power. So maybe now we're at a, let's say our character's now level 5. Chat, why don't you tell me what is our speciality for our wizard? What school have they specialized in? Because that will affect this item, since we're going to be custom building it for our wizard. What school have they specialized in? Abjuration, conjuration, divination, enchantment, illusion, necromancy, transmutation? Are they a war wizard? Illusion. Illusion's fun. I got to play a high-level illusion wizard at a con once in just like a one-shot game. And it's pretty fun. You get to actually create illusionary items that become real. And it's kind of an Acme Wile E. Coyote thing. So, illusion. Okay, so our Aarakocra Illusion Wizard Archaeologist has upgraded their Early Bird Amulet, and now it's gained some kind of additional ability, some kind of additional power. What can this power be? Well, if we want it to be tied into their illusion ability, we can say, I'm going to very quickly look up the mechanics of Illusion Wizards and see what special abilities they get. So they get an improved minor illusion cantrip. They can manipulate illusions. Higher levels, they can create a illusory duplicate of themselves. And then at very high level, they get to make their illusions into real objects. So, we can say maybe, let's see, something like once per day, or an ability that resets at dawn, since we're talking about dawn being kind of intricate to this early bird amulet. How about this? How about Angela suggests regaining the use of an illusory spell after a rest, or casting illusory spells as bonus actions. Could be later upgrades. Those could be later upgrades. I'm going to go with if you prepare your daily spell list while the sun is rising, because we're going with that dawn theme, you can prepare one additional spell. So, wizards are very much about spell utility, about having a wide range of spells. So, if we're going to give them the ability to prepare an extra spell once per day, we're increasing that utility, we're tying it into the flavor of the class, and I think that's good, because we're also tying it into this sort of this dawn theme that we're going with. So yeah, I like that. I think that would be a nice little upgrade to have at level 5. You can prepare an extra spell once per day. So let's take our amulet here, and we're going to bump our character level up again. Let's say we've gone up to level 10. We're now on Early Bird Amulet 3. This is our second upgrade to the item. So, we have this amulet which gives us advantage on initiative rolls. It allows us to prepare one extra spell once per day. Let's go with let's go with The first spell you cast in combat does not consume a spell slot if it is an illusion spell of 3rd level or lower. So, we're tying this into their illusion speciality. We're saying that if you open up in combat by casting an illusion spell, you can basically do that for free. You're not going to use a spell slot by doing that. And because it's the first spell you're casting in combat, we're tying in again to that that sort of early bird flavor of it, that it's the first thing you're getting into combat. So, yeah, I like that. That's a nice, an extra little bonus as well. So let's upgrade this once again. So now our Aarakocra Illusion Wizard Archaeologist is level, let's say level 14. And we're on Early Bird Amulet level 4. So we have advantage on initiative rolls. We have an extra spell prepared each day. We have the first spell you cast in combat does not consume a spell slot if it's an illusion spell. What can we add to this to make it better? We can go back, we can alter some of these. We can say maybe you can prepare 2 additional spells instead of 1. And the illusion spell can be now of fourth level or lower. And let's give it something else cool. Because again, 14th level, this is the level where our wizard is gaining the ability to turn their illusions into physical objects. So we could do something, say that other creatures have disadvantage on their insight checks to determine whether your spells are in fact illusions. That's a possibility. We can talk about Angela's suggestion of regaining an illusory spell, or I guess regaining a spell slot after a rest, or casting illusions as bonus actions. Spell saves against your illusion magic have disadvantage. I'm trying to think of something that has I'm sorry for just going quiet here, but I'm trying to think of something that has a bit more flavor than just a flat mechanical benefit. What are some balancing considerations when doing this, Angela asks. Well, again, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, trying to. It depends. It depends from game to game, DM to DM, on your setting. First of all, if you're low magic, high magic, how powerful you want your items and your players to be, and other than that, it's. I hate to say it's something that just takes experience, but it's something that you kind of, or at least I kind of, have a sort of innate sense of that seems too powerful, that seems not powerful enough, just from reading the Dungeon Master's Guide, playing a lot of these games, and knowing when something has a, generally speaking, based on the sort of the odds and the statistics behind the dice rolls, whether something is going to be very powerful or not as powerful. Jay says, since it's a bird amulet for an Aarakocra, the huge buff could be bird-related religions, kind of like the racial trait that gives you an animal friendship at will for specific animals. Interesting. Bird-related illusions, you say? Add an illusion element that is carried on the air, the feeling of wind, a scent, an echoing sound from the distance. Hmm. I'm thinking. What am I thinking? I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. I am kind of stuck here. So let's yeah. Yeah, any your ideas are good. Here's kind of what I'm thinking. Um I like the idea of bird related illusions. Um it is it's a good idea. It's a good idea. I'm just trying to figure out how we can build upon that. Um, what sort of ability are we going to bake that into? That you can summon like an illusory flock of birds, What would they do? What benefit does that grant? Um, Angela's suggestion, call on the whispers of the ancients for a sound illusion spell that gives distraction and disadvantage on saves. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we'll create an ability. Excuse me. Yeah, we'll create an ability here. Once, whoops, say once per short rest, you can call upon the whispers of the ancients. Yeah. Okay, so once per short rest, when you cast an illusion spell, you can call upon the whispers of the ancients to cloud the minds of your enemies. Any creature that must make a saving throw to resist the effects of your spell makes their save at disadvantage. So there we go. There we go. Thank you guys for helping me through that. You're all awesome. I love your suggestions. Alright, I think we got time to take this one more level. Our Aarakocra Illusion Wizard Archaeologist is now level 20. And we have the Early Bird Amulets level 5. It's been a long road. It's been 20 long levels of dragon slaying and demon fighting and devil banishing, whatever you do in the course of a D&D campaign. But we are here. We are finally at level 20. And our legendary amulet is going to reach its full magical potential. So, it gives us advantage on our initiative rolls. It allows us to prepare an additional 2 spells every day. A lot of crying in my experience. Oh, Jay, I'm so sorry. The first spell you cast in combat does not consume a spell slot if it is an illusion spell of 4th level or lower. Once per short rest, when you cast an illusion spell, you can call upon the whispers of the ancients to cloud the minds of your enemies. Any creature that must make a saving throw to resist the effects of your spell makes their save at disadvantage. And what else? What is our ultimate ability? What is the ultimate power of the Early Bird Amulet now unlocked for us? This pinnacle Aarakocra Illusion Wizard Archaeologist. Well, let's see here. We are an epic level character. The mysteries of the universe are unfolded before us. You can take on the visage of a phoenix and get a number of bonuses. Ooh. I like that. That's a good, very bird-related idea. Yeah. Angela makes a good point. It's like taking on the magic form that a lot of folks at those upper levels get. It's true. We can say this is going to be a particularly powerful idea. That sentence was a sentence. This is true. So let's say as an action, you activate the power of this amulet and take on the guise of the mythical Dawn Phoenix. All creatures of your choice within 120 feet that can see you must succeed on a Constitution save versus your spell save DC, or be blinded for until the end of your next turn. So you become this mythical, bright, brilliant Dawn Phoenix, and you blind your opponents for a round. Well, depends what kind of creatures you're fighting. If we're talking about fighting legendary dragons with blind sense, yes, that's not a big of a deal. If you're wading into combat with dozens upon hundreds of low-level foes in this massive melee, then blinding the whole lot of them, that's very powerful. So, it's still a good idea, Frosty. Let's see, what are some other epic level bonuses we can give this ability? Maybe you gain... Here we go. While in the form of the Phoenix, you are resistant to radiant damage. And double your flying speed. So you are a Dawn Phoenix, you are a creature of the sun, you are resistant to radiant damage, and you can fly extra super special fast. That's neat. Tying back into our Aarakocra heritage. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Hopefully you guys like that too. That's a fun little thing that we've created today. It is almost 6 o'clock, so I'm going to start wrapping things up. I want to thank all of you for joining me in the studio today. I appreciate your suggestions and your ideas and everything you contributed. I love being able to interact with all of you. For Frosty, there might be a page one can take from the Phoenix Sorcerer subclass. I've not seen the Phoenix Sorcerer subclass. I'll have to take a look at that. What publication is that in? So, before I go, I want to remind you all that you can find the creations from this stream and our previous streams on our World Anvil page, which is titled Homebrew Studiopolis. Everything is there for you to peruse, for you to use, take, put in your own games, use as inspiration, alter as you will. Have fun with it. That's part of why we're doing this, is to give you great ideas and inspiration for your games. We are very lucky to have World Anvil as a sponsor of the Nerdsmith network. World Anvil is the most robust world creation tool on the interwebs. Whether you're homebrewing for an RPG setting or for a novel or other creative work, definitely check them out. You can get a free World Anvil account, and by subscribing, unlock some extra bells and whistles and special features that are very much worth it, in my opinion. World Anvil has just unveiled their new Heroes feature, which is kind of like a social media account for your characters. It's fantastic. And I think they actually have a discounted sale going on right now. If you go to worldanvil.com, you can see about a discount promotion they're running for their new Heroes feature. The feature is free, but they're running a discount for anyone who wants to upgrade during the launch. I also want to thank our sponsor, Die Hard Dice. You can save 15% off your first or next order on beautiful custom metal dice or dice accessories by going to dieharddice.com and using the coupon code HOMEBREW. That is one word. You can check out things like their new Fey Queen metal dice set, which is an addition to their Spellbinder line, which is these beautiful rosy pinks and dusky purples, woven together on the face of the dice. It's very beautiful. The Phoenix is UA Frosty. Okay. That's neat, though. Yep, you can check out our VODs here on the Twitch channel or on YouTube, our YouTube channel for Nerdsmith as well. If you want to find more of me, you can follow me at Matthew A. Siebert on Twitter. You can also check out The Land Above, which is a D&D storytelling podcast with an all LGBTQ plus cast set in a homebrew subterranean setting that I am the DM for. You can find that by going to nerdsmith.org and clicking the content tab, or by subscribing to The Land Above on your pod player of choice. We are going to be back in July. Again, this is our season finale episode, so we'll be back in July with more streams to inspire your homebrew creations. Until then, let us know what you think about what we've created this season. Join our Discord server. There's a link to it underneath the Twitch player. You just say that it was Homebrew Studio that sent you, and you'll get access to the Discord. Join our Homebrew Studio channel in the Discord. Leave any comments, any ideas, any homebrew items that you've been working on, so that the rest of the community can see them and review them. And that's great. That's what we are trying to do in building a community around this show. So I think that is it. There's not going to be a stream tonight following this because Countless Heroes is now finished. So I hope you all have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful month of June, and we'll see you next time. Take care, my friends.